Hey everybody, welcome back to Movies and TV Shows on the Ball, and I'm Steve.
And I'm Jay.
And welcome to Flash Friday. We just got out of seeing The Flash. So Jay, before we start, we talked about DC Comics before.
Right.
Before we start with The Flash in this series, let's talk about what was your introduction to The Flash.
Probably my introduction to The Flash was, or at least the biggest one, was probably the Justice League cartoons growing up.
Right.
On Cartoon Network. What was your first?
Well, I knew him through the Cartoon Network stuff, but I really didn't. I knew of him. I watched all 10 seasons of Smallville.
Okay.
And the Flash show. There was an episode where the Flash showed up.
Right.
On is it still recording?
Yeah.
The Flash showed up on showed up as part, there was an episode in I think season 6 of Smallville.
Okay.
Where he shows up and he does some hero stuff, and Clark Kent's like, how did that happen? And it's like, oh, who's this Flash guy? And now what I've been doing is on Netflix.
Right.
They have the Flash television series with Barry Allen on.
How's that? Is that the current, or is him growing up?
That's the current. Basically, he works for so the dad from the 1990s Flash show.
Right.
I don't think it's going to connect to that.
No.
The 1990s Flash show.
Right.
Was for the Flash from the 90s show is the Flash's dad in this show.
Right.
And so he's been running for a long time.
Okay.
And then the Flash basically and I've seen the first episode. It's just pretty much, it's more of the villain of the week, and it deals with the it's kind of in the Arrowverse.
Okay.
So there's because I watched Arrow through season 5, and it was always weird because it's you'll watch the series and then it'll jump and have the Flash will show up and you're going, wait, what happened? But it's a pretty good show. And then I've kind of seen the Flash through the Justice League animated shows,
right?
But I'm not that really familiar with it. So this was kind of an eye opener.
Gotcha.
To it. What about you, Jay?
It was primarily the Justice League cartoon. Yeah, it was probably my main introduction to Flash and his sort of backstory and stuff.
So Jay,
what'd you think of the movie? Initial thoughts.
My initial thought, I felt I felt like this was a game changer.
Okay.
For DC, because I knew the Flashpoint storyline, because in the Flashpoint storyline, Bruce Wayne dies and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman.
Gotcha.
So that's in the comics.
Right.
So I knew of that series, but I liked what they did with this one. Let's what'd you think of? Let's go through this. Tell me what the story was.
Gotcha. So sort of real short story. The Flash goes back in time and sort of messes stuff up. And he sort of does this because he wants to go back and save his mom.
Yeah. So his mom. So it's basically his mom goes into because in the series, I guess in this one, his mom, his dad murdered, or allegedly, was it? Or?
Yeah, so his dad goes out to the store to get some tomatoes, and he comes back, and the mom's been stabbed.
And he's been framed for it. Or
framed, but I guess there's no evidence of the killer, so they blame him.
Because if you remember in Justice League, he's meeting his dad on the phone. He talks to his dad in prison.
Okay, yeah.
And so the plot kind of goes, he talks to Ben Affleck's, or Batfleck, I'm going to call him Batfleck.
Batfleck.
And he's like, Bruce, can we change the time zone?
And Bruce is like, no, that's a bad idea. You'll mess everything up.
Yeah,
butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect. Back to the Future effect. You can't see yourself at the same thing. And he starts running.
And he goes back in time. He just goes back in time, and he's going to try to stop his dad from going out by placing the forgotten can of tomatoes in his mom's cart.
And then
Then he comes back to the normal timeline, but then everything's changed.
Yeah, so it is the butterfly. It is
Yeah.
the butterfly effect. And so what's changed? The Ben Affleck Batman is
Right.
no longer Batman,
Right.
and he's like, and it's kind of it's not really a spoiler. It was sort of in the. So they break into. So they go to Wayne Manor, and
Right.
Wayne Manor is dressed up just like Tim Burton's Wayne Manor.
Right.
And he finds that in the Wayne Manor, it's
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Right.
And he's like, you want to get nuts. And it was kind of, we went with the, audience. This is the first weekend. You get that audience clap and whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right.
And he's like, you're the Batman? And he's like, yeah, I know how to do this. Yeah. What'd you, so anyway, he gets the Batman. Let's get through the plot and then we'll talk about what we like. So then he talks to Bruce Wayne, or talks to Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne.
Right.
And,
well, I guess they went in to get Bruce Wayne because General Zod has shown up.
General
They're trying
Zod
to
showed
get
up.
the
So
Justice League together.
General Zod showed up because of the events of what happened. I guess through the time change, General Zod was still alive, and this is still happening at the same time as Man of Steel. And then General Zod shows up, and it's played by Michael Shannon again.
Uh-huh.
And then we find out that Superman has been...
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. But, dun 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 dun, there is someone else. Kal-El, no, what's it, Kal-El? What's it? Supergirl?
Supergirl.
Supergirl shows up. I think it's Kara, I can't remember. Anyway,
I think it is Kara.
Yeah, Kara shows up. And Kara is a little bit different. She's usually, in a lot of the other ones, she's got blonde hair.
Uh-huh.
And, like, in a lot of the original things, she's got blonde hair, and in this one she's got kind of her hair's a little cut, and
Right, they sort of rescue her from this like Siberian prison where she's been captured for a long time.
And then after that, okay, it's and then keep going.
Yeah, so like they sort of get her out, and then she's not sure if she's gonna help them fight Zod. So like, okay, let's get the original Flash's power back.
Yeah, and so they have to do a lot of like
Benjamin Franklin
like
fly the kite,
and try to get
struck by lightning. And then Supergirl comes back and okay, I'll help you fight this guy, and so they go try to fight Zod out in the desert. And so during the fight, sort of Zod sort of wins.
Zod stabs Kara.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can fix it.
So they go back in time again.
And what the first time they go back in, or is this the second time they go back in time?
Yeah, this will be the second time.
So the second time they go back in time, there it is. Kara is
still fighting Zod,
and the Flash or Barry tries to
save her, and
he
fails again,
and then he does it again and again and again.
And that's sort of what gets stuck in this sort of time loop where it's sort of the second Barry can't let, like he can't get over letting Kara die.
Second Barry is the Barry we know from the Justice League.
But no, this is the long hair Barry.
Long hair Barry.
Yeah,
okay,
this is the second Barry.
Second Barry. Okay.
Yeah, and so it sort of gets revealed in a bit that second Barry like goes back in time, sort of like almost like who's the time wizard from Marvel?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, Doctor Strange. Remember he does like the thing where he lives like almost like an infinite number of lives.
Yeah.
It sort of does that where he goes back almost an infinite number of times.
Yeah.
And he sort of turns into like this time monster guy.
Yeah. And then
he's sort of like tearing apart the fabric of reality.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And then what did we like?
Yeah. And then what was that?
You going with the story.
Yeah. And then sort of dramatically like the super from the future Barry 2 kills the Barry 2. He kills himself, and it sort of fixes the timeline.
Yeah, it was kind of like
Barry 1 goes back and undoes his can of tomatoes, but he changes one tiny thing, and he moves the camera.
Butterfly effect, and he moves the camera. And
yeah, so he saves his dad, and then it's revealed that Batman has changed one more time, and it's now George Clooney.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, which I thought. So then. He has to change it again. Because did I go to the bathroom when George Clooney showed up?
No, that was the very end when he shows up in
okay.
after the courtroom.
Oh, after the courtroom.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the plot. Now let's talk about what we liked about it.
Gotcha.
So what would you like about it as a DC film? Were you like, I'm really liking it, or were you just like, it was okay?
I liked it. I think this one struck a better balance of like humor and action.
Yeah. It wasn't as dour as Zack Snyder stuff,
right?
But it wasn't as fun. I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was fun, but it wasn't as over the toply lively like Wonder Woman '84.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, or I mean, like, you know, like, or it was fun. It was
definitely fun. Yeah, I was trying to think of the other.
But did it kind of remind you of
the second Suicide Squad?
It kind of reminded me of the second Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but I guess it was less extreme, like it was zaniness.
Yeah,
it was still it was a good balance of like funny and action.
What do you think of that? Or so basically, what do you think of Ben Affleck? I was kind of hoping that this is a spoiler, not a spoiler,
right?
But this is a spoiler. I was hoping that, well, kind of, Ben Affleck's Batman would meet Michael Keaton's Batman.
Oh, that'd been cool.
Or you know, kind of that was kind of what I was hoping for when I saw the thing. You know, kind of like the way we talked about how in Spider-Man they actually didn't just throw the cameo away, and they were actually all spiders were working together. You know, in that scene where they were like, "Oh yeah, my stuff comes from my bloodline." You know,
right?
That was in Spider-Man. But I liked what they did. I liked how they actually gave, but I do have to say, the Flash film did give each of the Spider-Man or each of the Batman to really actually spend time with Barry. You know, it wasn't kind of in the same way Spider-Man. It wasn't as, hello, I'm Michael Keaton Batman. Because they spend a lot of time with Michael Keaton.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, so and then Michael
Keaton shows
almost sort of steals the movie.
He does, and like, you know, ironically, I think it was in the '80s when Batman came up. Everyone was like, Michael Keaton doesn't look like Batman, and now everybody's like, oh, he's back.
Right.
And Michael Keaton it's kind of like watching him put on a glove.
Right.
He just goes smoothly into the character, and he was just sort of like, let's get nuts. He says, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts," which he says to the Joker in Batman. What'd you think of? I guess we're in spoiler territory, or
we're beyond spoilers.
Yeah, okay. So the storyline he changes. He goes through. He changes the different time things, and then all of a sudden, the Superman, or we'll get that's at the end.
Yeah.
But so let's go back to but like so they kind of spent let's go with he spends time with Batman.
Right.
With the Michael Keaton Batman.
Oh yeah, and we have to talk about they sort of bring back the original Batcave.
Tim Burton, and they have the Batman, the Batmobile. He
sort of like the nice, like classic.
Off of it.
And I don't know. I'm sort of like, you know, like the newer Batmobiles. I've never been the biggest fan. Sort of like stuff. You know, like it sort of looks like a super Humvee or something.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the nice, like sleek.
It's
looking.
Sleek, and I like the doors because it kind of reminds me of the Batman animated series.
I know. Yeah, those are like so. I don't know. I just like this. I like this. I prefer that style.
What do you think? I mean, and Michael Keaton really brought. It was nice to see him back in the show.
I agree.
In the film. What would you? Okay, so we're so Zod. What do you think of Michael Shannon and Zod coming back?
I liked him. I guess they didn't spend a whole lot of time showing his character that much.
No, I could see that maybe there might be with a lot of DC stuff. There might be like a tiny, like a directive DVD, the extended cut, where they might add some more stuff.
Yeah, but it's sort of. I don't know if they would like. If adding more of him into it would help.
No,
like,
I mean, he was just kind of there. Yeah. He was just kind of there, and
I really liked him in the Man of Steel, though. I thought
I feel like he kind of came back and he was a lot more ruthless in this one than he was in Man of Steel. Not that he wasn't, but I don't know. It was just Zack Snyder's kind of way of doing it. So let's get to the indie, or let's see what. So Supergirl shows up.
Right.
And it's it's the DCEU Supergirl. She's got kind of a cut hair.
Right.
And she shows up and she fights Zod.
Right.
And what do you think of the fight with Zod and Supergirl?
I liked it. It was lacking a bit of like
emotion.
No, not that. I just remember seeing I think it was the Man of Steel, where it was like showing how fast they moved.
Yeah.
It like really felt like like almost like like just how like powerful they were. I feel like they did tone down like their
the Man of the Supergirl.
Stuff. Well, it's just like like it was sort of like
Excuse me.
It just like sort of just made me feel like, oh my gosh, these like people are so powerful. Like they could punch like blows up a building or something.
Yeah.
But I think it was decent fights. I guess they try not to take away too much from the Flash.
Well, I think that's true. I think, but I also liked what they did with Batman, with kind of near the end, where we get to see. I like how you got to see both the Flashes fight, team up, and fight Zod.
Right.
That was kind of cool, and Michael Shannon was great as Zod. I thought Supergirl. I liked her, but I felt like she didn't have that much personality.
Well, I don't know.
She kind of got more personality as the movie.
I thought it was sort of like back to the general. She was sort of like a side character, so they can't devote too much time to her without like adding a whole other subplot.
So then he changes the time zone one more time. Wait, where was it? Where were we in the spot?
So like if we're going back to the fight, they sort of like they start going back in time a bunch, and that's sort of like they break everything. And that's where you start to see all the cameos of the different Superman.
So what was pretty cool? So what's pretty cool about the Superman is you got this, and it was sort of like in sort of hologram
sort of like
thing, where we get to see. So they had. You want to so we're in spoiler territory.
I think they had like the black and white, like 1930s or something. Superman,
the George Reeves Superman. I think
and then they had the Christopher Reeve Superman. Yeah,
and then they had the Get in the cage with Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Superman, because they were supposed to do a Tim Burton Superman film called Superman Lives, and then they had. All the Superman show up,
right?
And then
I think they had like the 1960s Batman,
Adam West Batman.
Yeah, and then they had I don't remember this version of Flash. It's like a version of Flash, but he's like dressed like Mercury. There's like in black and white.
I don't know if he was.
I don't know if it's like just referencing like the very original Flash.
Well, maybe, probably, because I know there was a Flash TV series in the 90s,
and there was probably because there's like on this like little like. Sort of alternate universes. There's like so much going on the screen. I probably missed a lot of.
And it's probably going to be one of those movies that I'll probably get on DVD or Blu-ray, and we'll watch it and kind of give it more of like, more of a Easter eggs because I know that there's probably people on YouTube.
Was there anything you were hoping to see that wasn't in there?
I was hoping to see like a Green Lantern, like not like but like maybe like because if you remember in Justice League we got to see Green Lantern.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to see Ryan Reynolds. No, because I feel like he's just like I don't want to do anything with that character.
Right.
But I did like the Christopher Reeves, and they didn't throw it at people.
Right.
Or like no, you know what I'm saying is like they didn't throw it at. It was like it was just so much that you're just kind of It's almost like one of those moments where you're just like I kind of want to see this on DVD so I can pause it and go, wait a minute, there's that.
Right.
There's that one. I know that one. I know that one.
Right.
I was even kind of concerned if they were going to show Kevin Conroy's Batman.
Yeah, I was hoping to just throw in like some random who's like the Flash's bit like the Captain Boomerang and like who's
Captain Cold I think is one.
Captain Cold or who's like the Gorilla.
Gorilla God.
Yeah, God. Yeah.
That would be kind of cool to see.
But
I feel like with this show, I think they had to spend time devoting to.
Yeah, but I feel like that's something they could just thrown into like the little like multiverse.
Or at least. Kind of like how they did it in Space Jam 2, where do you ever see Space Jam?
No, you can't. Are you gonna spoil Space Jam 2 for me?
Okay, never mind. Well, okay, never mind. I mean, they've got the Cyberverse, and they show a bunch of WB stuff and like the at the arena, and you're like going, wait a minute, there's such and such, and I'm not going to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it yet. But I did like that, and but I did like the Ben. I was kind of hoping that Ben Affleck's Batman and Michael Keaton's Batman would have like a conversation.
Right.
That would have been cool to see.
Yeah, that would have.
But then all the Superman show up and the Batman, and I'm trying to finish this off, but
yeah. So Barry sort of resets the timeline, except he like changes the evidence to save his dad, and the movie sort of ends where he realizes he's sort of changed the Batman to George Clooney.
Which was kind of a cool wink, and because like George, what'd you think of George Clooney? I think it was a great Bruce Wayne, and I think it was just.
Was he the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen that one in a long time, except for like watching puns
and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think he's sophisticated, and I liked Michael Keaton. I would be really cool to have seen if like we would have seen just in the shadows, like Terry McGinnis, or something.
Yeah.
I liked it, and then I feel like it's a game change. How long are we? 21 minutes. Okay. So what was? I guess. So that was. What'd you think of what's your final thoughts? I guess.
I mean, I liked it. I thought this was one of the better DC movies.
I did too. I was a little bit more like. I wish I kind of. I mean, I think for the first kind of absorption of it, I was. When they showed like. I liked it when they showed Bruce Wayne doing stuff, or not Bruce Wayne, the Ben Affleck Batman,
right,
fighting and doing stuff, and I mean, like at the beginning of the film,
right,
and I liked how I would have liked to have seen Keaton and Bruce Wayne, like
the two different Batmans team up,
or at least say, hey, you're from this, kind of in the same way they did Spider-Verse,
right,
but I think it was all right. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, okay, from a comic books, let's do it like this. On a movie perspective, 1 to 10. 10 being own it, 8, 9, 10 through 7, own it, best movie ever. 6 through 5, or 6 through 4 is okay. 3, 2, 1.
I'd give it maybe like a 7.5, 8, probably.
No,
yeah, what would you give it?
I would give it. I would be a little higher. I'd probably give it a 9, just because I feel like, because they needed to come out with something to really kind of change the game plan.
Right.
And I think Michael Keaton was great as Batman. Or kind of, it felt, like he was coming. It was like kind of something that you've never seen, kind of before. Or not seen, but like kind of fit in a glove again.
No, yeah, he was great.
And I liked, and I was kind of hoping that we'd see more. I just kind of wish they had like two. Like I said, I wish they would have the two Batmans interconnect.
I guess when you saw it, were you caught up in the DC? I guess I still have not seen the new Shazam movie. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen Shazam.
Okay.
I don't really. I feel like this is Shazam was
I think
sort of
separate. But
yeah, I feel like Shazam. Because I think this movie has been in developmental hell for a while.
Right.
They had to move it back because of COVID, and I think with James Gunn coming in, this is sort of restarting the whole DCU.
I'm still sad about who's it, Henry Cavill. I thought he was a pretty good Superman.
I thought Henry Cavill would have been kind of like shown up, but I think he and but they're kind of doing like a new Superman.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure who is it, but I thought he was.
But
we'll see.
Maybe like look at Andrew Garfield for instance, in the Spider-Man thing. Everybody was like, he was such a great, and Toby. If you look at, we're just kind of talking about Marvel when we should talk about DC, but with both the Spider-Mans, Spider-Man 4 or Spider-Man 3 never really gave Tobey Maguire its own outing until No Way Home, and Andrew Garfield, who I think did a great job as Spider-Man, didn't get a really good send-off till No Way Home.
Right.
And I think that's good. Do you feel like The Flash is DC's No Way Home, or do you think The Flash is more of like DC's in game.
Yeah, I don't.
Or
Yeah, I don't know if
not,
I don't think it reached that height.
It doesn't reach that. But do you think
it's way better than what they have been putting out?
Well, okay. On a scale for would you put it as like? I don't think it. I do kind of think it was. It could have been. I would like to see an extended cut of this. Maybe just a little, just a tiny, just to add more stuff to it. But I feel like it was. I think for DC, it's a great step in the new direction.
Yeah.
So. That is. So anyway, that is our take on the Flash 2 or the Flash 1. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jay.
And thank you guys. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.